morning, Galen.
Hey, good morning, Sherman. How are you?
Great to see your face, and it looks like you've got. Now, is that Nevada in the background?
Yeah, it is Nevada. It's between Reno and Tonopah, which, of course, the last time we saw each other, we were visiting Tonopah together.
Yeah. So I'm with the Chief Executive Officer, Galen McNamara, with Summa Silver. And the whole purpose today is a nice short little update. I was very fortunate. Galen invited me to the site visit for Summa Silver in Tonopah, and it's funny. I had some guests, Galen, last night in my house for dinner, who are from the Los Angeles area, and two or three Americans. And here I was explaining to them how exciting Tonopah was, and the one guy's going like, "Are you serious?" I go, "Yeah, like donkeys roam free, and they got the mitzvah hotel, and I ran into some really neat people on the streets of Tonopah, and I even told the story because I don't know if I even told you yet, Galen, but I had kind of got back to my room a bit early, and a few of the newsletter writers had gone down to the local pub. And so when I got back to the front desk, I said, "Well, what time do they close that pub?" I said, "Well," the lady said, "that one closes when they stop drinking, and the other one is open 24 hours.
Yeah, exactly. It's a special place. I would encourage anyone, if they're going through that area, to take a stop in Tonopah for sure, or even take a visit. I know we've definitely had some fun in that bar that closes when you stop drinking. We've had some fun there before for sure.
So the whole purpose today is to get an update from Galen, the CEO of Summa Silver. Some really exciting results that came out this morning that I wanted to highlight with Galen. I also thought, I would talk to Galen and get his views. I mean, we've got, I think, sort of not only an electrical transformation happening in the capital markets, but also, a real move, it seems to me, towards some real assets like silver and gold, and of course all the battery metals like nickel and cobalt and copper and tin. And really wanted to maybe tap your expertise and thoughts on what's happening in the gold and silver market, number one, and then also, of course, talk about these incredible results that you posted this morning, and how that could lead to further advancement in the market cap of Summa Silver, which, as you know, is one of our top picks in the silver space. We've been fortunate to be involved with Summa for a number of years, and so just first of all, congratulations on Summa Silver. So a couple highlights on exactly what you're doing and how that's creating value, and then I'd also like to pick your brain in terms of where in the world are we in this world. I mean, I was reading something on Kitco, and I can't remember, it was one of the major players like Robert Frillian or Frank Juster, I can't remember who it was, talking about are at unprecedented times in terms of the potential for gold and silver. So I'll leave all that to you, Galen.
Sure. Sounds good. Well, first of all, Sherman, you thanked me for being involved in Summa, but I'd like to thank you and some of your people for being shareholders. I think that's the most important thing, and for supporting us from the beginning. When we were at 25-cent stock, we go back. It's only been 2 years, but it feels like a lot longer because we've got so much done. But fast forwarding, I think just to the results that we put out this morning. From our Mogollon project in New Mexico, 31 meters of 459 grams per ton silver equivalent. I mean, the thickness there was something that I think it's safe to say surprised the whole team. And we saw the extensivity of the quartz veining in the hole. We thought, hey, it looks pretty mineralized. Will it be mineralized the whole way through? Well, fingers crossed. And it turns out that it was, and it wasn't just mineralized a little bit. It's very significantly mineralized at this. And what I have here is in the press release is also the GT, that call it the grade thickness. Basically, though, that's just multiplying the grade by the length of the drilling intersection. You get a number like 14,000, which when you compare that hole to other holes in companies or from companies that are much more advanced than ours, that have much higher market valuations than we do, market capitalizations than we do, it compares quite well. And the one thing I will say is that this is only the 5th hole that we've drilled on this project. It's only the 5th. And I don't know of any, I'm a geologist, if that isn't obvious yet to everyone, it will be very soon. And I don't know of any other places in the world where you can drill a hole like that and it's not in a world-class style system. So hey, we're going to spend the rest of this year really just drilling out this first target. It's only the first target on the project. We're drilling something like a strike length of 500 meters. It's still open in all directions. But there's 34 kilometers of prospective vein and structure on the property. So this 500 meters represents something like 1.5% of the prospective strike length, right? So that's hard for me to even imagine. And what it means is that there's a lot of work for us to do. So it's time for us to put our heads down and get to work.
Well, on that note, Galen, I just sort of interject, to make a point to investors that are watching this call and bring some awareness around the idea that don't underestimate, getting in early on some of these discoveries. I remember having early conversations with John Robbins and the group at Great Bear, for example, talking about, how good the core was looking and, how significant the drill results were. And investors actually took some time to warm up to it. And, so sometimes a really good entry point is these initial discovery holes that are, clearly you're onto to a bigger system.
I think that a lot of investors who have been very successful and are very well known, a lot of their success has been based on that exact strategy.
Yeah. Well, in some cases they'll wait. Everybody's trying to get the cheapest, lowest price, but sometimes, when there's a little bit more meat on the bone, or we have some of these initial discovery holes, you want to build more awareness and understanding of the projects and the people and the price that you're paying, which of course you and I have done already with Summa Silver. So, that's why we're there early. That's why we're still buyers. We participated big in the last financing. So, anyway, back to you.
Yeah. So that's a really good point about, the timing of investments. And, I've been through this before, and, a lot of times there's a window between some very strong results. So the first few sets of very strong results, and when a stock really starts to take off, because it's not obvious to everyone right away, even though the guys at the company are trying to scream it from the rooftops, because at the end of the day, every guy at every company is telling their story from the rooftops, right? So sometimes it takes some time to work through before the market really starts to get it. And as an investor, that can be really the sweet spot for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And, Robert Friedland, I remember at one of his talks, and, he's always I think he always said he's trying to invoke that hand to the reflex from the hand to the wallet,
Yeah.
And I think, to your point, it's a very good time to take a look at Summa Silver, clearly.
For sure. And even with the markets the way they've been the last little while, the last couple of weeks, silver and gold have taken it on the chin a little bit. But in bull markets, that's volatility for you. And if you believe in the precious metal thesis, whether it be to inflation, whether it be due to what's going on in the world in terms of conflicts, whether it be due to the new green focus of a metal like silver, well, there's all these different ideas why silver and gold are good places to invest right now, and they all kind of overlap and meet in the middle. And I've never seen a setup like I think we've got, even with the weakness in the last couple of weeks. I think it's a once in a generation opportunity.
I totally agree. So just maybe to wrap up, a couple key bullet points, I guess, would be, I often like to think of it as to what would be, kind of the size of the prize. And also, to reiterate to investors that there is a potential of kind of a double dip, in my view, with an investment like Summa Silver. So one, you've got a sector that you just talked about, how it's so perfectly set up, and we don't need to go through that. You can go to Kitco and read all the stuff on gold and silver and why it's a solid investment. Not to mention the fact that, gold has always been a great investment over time. So you got that great time to invest in the silver and gold space. And secondly, I guess, is what do you see as the CEO of Summa Silver as the size of the prize? In other words, we've got a current market cap today, which we know is attractive. How big could Summa get, Galen?
It's hard for me to put that into words in a way that's fair, but I will say that we would never want to be involved in a project, whether it be Mogollon or Tonopah, where we didn't think there was good potential for 100 million ounces of silver on each project. Now we're very early days, and we have a lot of work to do to get there. But unless you're not willing to take a big swing, like why waste your time? Because life is short, right? So for us, that's really the goal. That's the aspiration. And I look at companies that have accomplished those goals. You look at companies like Vizsla Silver. You look at companies like Silvercrest Metals. You look at companies like Mag Silver. The last two have market caps well in excess of $1 billion. And Vizsla, I think, is well on its way to $1 billion, to be honest with you. So for us, those are our aspirations.
Excellent. So I've been with Galen McNamara, with the CEO of Summa Silvers. Thank you so much, Galen, for taking the time. I know you got to have back-to-back calls with those kind of silver results. And I really look forward to seeing you probably in a couple of weeks at the Vancouver show, I guess, eh?
Absolutely. I'll be here. And thanks for having me on for the interview, Sherman.
Yeah, right on. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Galen.
Talk to you soon. Thanks.